Chapter 5 Meeting with Sri Ramakrishna. Suresh and Nagmahashaya stepped into the room and saw Sri Ramakrishna seated on a small cot with his legs stretched out at full length. He was smiling and facing northwards. With folded palms, Suresh made obeisance to him and sat on a mat spread out on the floor. Nagmahashaya, quite in keeping with the Indian custom, fell prostrate before Sri Ramakrishna and wanted to take the dust from the master's feet. But Sri Ramakrishna withdrew his legs and thus did not permit him to touch them. This was too much for Nagmahashaya, and he felt a pang within. Surely a devotee cannot suffer such a privilege to be withheld from him. Nagmahashaya laid the blame at his own door and consoled himself, thinking that he was not worthy enough to touch the feet of that holy saint. He got up with an aching heart and sat near the farthest end of the room. Sri Ramakrishna inquired who they were and put some questions regarding them. He talked to them for some time, and in the course of the conversation said, "You remain in this world like the punkal fish. There is nothing wrong in staying at home. The punkal fish lives in the clay but is not soiled by it. Similarly, you remain at home, but be careful that the dirt of samsara does not stain your mind." This piece of advice at once went home, as Nagmahashaya was all the while agitated by this very thought. It amazed him, and he gazed at the master, whereupon Sri Ramakrishna asked him, "Why do you look in that fashion?" Nagmahashaya replied, "I had a great desire to see you, and am now satisfying myself." After some time, Sri Ramakrishna told them to go to Panchavati to meditate a little there. Suresh and Nagmahashaya returned to Sri Ramakrishna after meditating for about half an hour. Sri Ramakrishna afterwards took them round the temples. The master went ahead, while Suresh and Nagmahashaya followed him. Close to Sri Ramakrishna's room are the 12 Shiva temples. Upon entering each of these temples, Sri Ramakrishna went round the deity and bowed down to him. Nagmahashaya followed the suit, but Suresh, being of Brahmo faith, did not have any regard for the images of God, and he only observed all these silently. Then there was the Vishnu temple. Here also Sri Ramakrishna did as before, and then proceeded towards the mother's temple. As soon as Sri Ramakrishna enters the mother's temple, he became quite a changed man. He was filled with emotion and was trembling. It seemed that he forgot himself. He went round and round the mother several times, just as an unruly child does, holding one end of its mother's cloth. He then bowed down and touched the feet of Shiva and Shakti with his head and returned to his room. His living faith and wonderfully childlike dependence, as revealed in his acts in the shrine, evoked in Nagmahashaya a feeling of veneration for Sri Ramakrishna, and he was spellbound to see such great purity, holiness, and devotion. At about 5 o'clock in the evening, when Suresh and Nagmahashaya took leave of Sri Ramakrishna, he asked them to come again, remarking that frequent visits would bring them close. Then they departed. On his way home, Nagmahashaya was occupied with the thoughts of Sri Ramakrishna's personality. Was he a sage or a saint or a higher being? This thought agitated him, and his meeting with Sri Ramakrishna fanned the flames of devotion in his excited mind. The experiences of that memorable day, we are told, left an indelible impression in his mind, and a burning desire for God's realization came upon him. He was almost mad with it. He cared neither for sleep nor for food, and he desisted from talking to others. He would talk on Sri Ramakrishna alone with Suresh. Next week, both the friends visited Sri Ramakrishna again. As soon as the master saw Nagmahashaya in that frantic mood, he attained the state of bhava and said, "You have done well to come here. I am waiting for you all." Then he made Nagmahashaya sit by him, and in words of love and affection spoke to him. "Be of good cheer, my child. Have no fear about your spiritual advancement. You have already attained to a very exalted state." Today also he asked them to meditate in the Panchavati. Sometime after they had gone there, Sri Ramakrishna went to them and asked Nagmahashaya to prepare a chilam of tobacco for him. When Nagmahashaya had gone for it, Sri Ramakrishna told Suresh, "He, Nagmahashaya, is verily a blazing fire." On Nagmahashaya's return with the chilam, Sri Ramakrishna ordered him, one after another, to get his towel, spice bag and jug, and fetch water in it, and so forth. With a mingled feeling of joy and sorrow, Nagmahashaya carried out his orders, for although he was given the opportunity to serve his master, yet he recalled to his mind the event of the first day of his meeting, which aggrieved him much. Nagmahashaya again visited Sri Ramakrishna. This time he was alone. The master, as on previous occasions, attained bhava. He stood up from his seat and muttered something. Seeing him in this state, Nagmahashaya became terrified. Sri Ramakrishna then told him, "Well, you are a medical man. Please examine my legs and see what is there." When Nagmahashaya heard him talking in a normal voice, he was greatly relieved. He touched his feet, examined them well and said that he found nothing there. Sri Ramakrishna again asked him to examine them more carefully. Now, Nagmahashaya touched the master's feet with more enthusiasm and felt how the Guru removes the wants and difficulties of the disciple. A small act of charity on the part of the Guru makes a true disciple feel that as an extremely gracious act of love towards him. And what to speak of such devotee as Nagmahashaya? His grief over the master not allowing him to touch his feet on the first visit was now assuaged, and he considered himself blessed now that he was given the privilege of doing so. Tears trickled down his cheeks, and he placed those long-desired feet on his head and heart. Blessed are the souls that know the relation between the Guru and the disciple, for they shall see God. About this time, Nagmahashaya, convinced that Sri Ramakrishna was God incarnate, being questioned how he could know this, he said, "After my going to Sri Ramakrishna for a few days, I came to know through his grace that Sri Ramakrishna was Narayana personified, and he was having his Leela in secret at Dakshineshwar." He then remarked, "No one can realize him unless blessed by him. Even austere penances for 1,000 years will be of no avail to realize him if he does not show mercy."